So hello everyone, welcome back to Nigerian View. So guys, we are back again with interviews, but this time with a little bit of difference. Because so many of you guys have been hearing my voice talking about the things that are going on in the streets. But today, we are going to be talking to one of our brothers who has actually been in the street and understand what has been going on in the street. And he is going to use his own experience to tell you guys how to move in the street so that it can be safe, especially for the people that are not members. And so this topic is very simple. It is understanding your own environment. So with that being said, let us introduce our brother. So bro, can you tell us your name and what confraternity you belong to if you have ever been in a confraternity?
Okay, my name is Mr. C, and I was a member of Supreme Vikings Confraternity, also known as the Norsemen Club of Nigeria.
All right, thank you very much, bro, for giving us your time today. And today, we are going to be talking about understanding your environment. So the first question is the slangs that people use in the street. So is it possible for someone to be in danger by using confraternity slangs? Does this confraternity slangs, does it have effect on the people that are not members?
I would answer both questions in the affirmative, in the sense that it is possible using confraternity slangs, and you're also endangering your life as a result of using a particular confraternity slang. The first one being that it endangers your life because you are unconsciously subscribing to a particular confraternity ideology, which at the long run makes you a potential enemy for rivalry gangs. In such a case where there is a war, or a war just broke out and then you're not aware, but then you've been seen on multiple occasions using a particular confraternity slangs, there's every possibility that you will be a target. That's the primary negative aspect of using a confraternity slangs where you're not a member. Because when once a fight, there's a fracas wherever, and then you're not aware, the rival cult had already seen or heard that you've been flowing in one or two different slangs that belong to a particular confraternity, then you're a potential target. I think that's the first one. And then would you repeat the second one? I just gave a response to if you're an endangered.
Okay, all right, no problem. I will give the second one, but I quickly want to do a follow-up to what you just said. Okay. So now you're talking about the rival confraternity members hearing someone who is not a member using a slang, and they might think that this person is a confraternity member. But is it also dangerous for the confraternity members themselves to hear someone using a slang? Will they be offended, or what do you think will happen if someone who is not a member uses the slang of a confraternity and the confraternity members hear him using it? Is it dangerous, or is it?
Yes. This. I think the second question actually applies to me. I know we try to skip the issue of how I joined or why I joined. The thing is, there is how you get elated by certain grammatical lexicons belonging to a particular confraternity. You just get excited, and then you begin to use it on a very informal setting with your own friends that are not even members. And then this is what happened to me. I began exploring and getting more vocabularies, and I was using it with my friends. And for me, the group I was actually speaking their vernacular, they were not necessarily offended at me. They just saw it as an opportunity for me to be a member. I don't know if you're getting it. Like, they just give me that opportunity, knowing that the very day they say I'm going to come for initiation, there is no backing up. I don't have any other option. I've been exploring their vocabulary and doing things in their name, and then some form of glory coming with it. So it was easier for them to just say, okay, we are taking this one for initiation today, because he has been hanging around us and then speaking the very basic ones he has been hearing or something. Are you getting it? So it actually gives room for them to say there would be no resistance in actually trying to initiate you, since you've been you've been, how do I even say, the Buccaneers, they call it being a lover or something. Do you understand? You're actually interested. Do you understand? Because there's no way you would use something without being interested in that thing. So when the owners of that thing come, it would be a bit more easier. That's the tricky part of it. You using it makes you, it gives a sense that you're available, that when they come for your initiation, you would be available and you would be willing. So, do you understand? And then on the other part, it could also portend a negative, it could also bring about a negative consequence. There are some other people that would come and harass you as a result of you using their slangs. I don't know if you're getting it. So on that particular question, it gives two sides. There is a side where you would be allowed to use it, but then when the time for initiation comes, you cannot say no. And then the other hand, you could also be harassed for using a particular.
All right, from what you have said, from what I gathered, using eco-fraternity slangs can actually be dangerous in two ways. It can be,
yes,
it can entice people to become a confraternity member.
Yes.
And it can also be dangerous because if the writers hear you using a particular confraternity slang, they might think that you are a member of the confraternity.
Yes.
Okay. And the third way is that even the confraternity members might be offended.
Yes. That usually happens if you don't have anyone in the hierarchy who is high enough, who they can connect you to. Do you understand? You cannot just be a random person using their slangs. You must have somebody, either a friend or someone who recommends you, who is in the hierarchy. So your face now is now familiar to them, even though you're not a member. So it's safer that way. That way they can see you as a potential initiate. But on the other hand, when you don't have nobody and then you're just a random person, it could result to your being harassed or something, or forced initiation. It actually happens where there are actually cases where they actually force people because you actually are using a particular slangs, and then they just come without informing you, and then they take you for initiation and all of that.
Okay, thank you very much. So, going to the next question, dress code. How can dress code be dangerous for people? Because, these days, everything about confraternity seems to be about colors. So, how can people move around in their neighborhood without getting into trouble with dress code or colors? Or does it not matter at all?
This is what I believe about dress code. We've entered a stage in the social media realm where everything is possible. Every information is almost available. Unlike in my time, right? I left around 2012, so it's been like 11 years now, not thereabout. So as at that time, we had very few phones. Maybe the reigning phones then were what was this phone, BlackBerry, and then they were still very scarce. Like not too many people had access to phones that could browse the internet. So unlike now, where you have a lot of things on social media and everyone has access to internet, there is no way you would say you're not familiar with code groups and colors. So if you deliberately fly a particular color, how do I convey this? If you fly a particular color out of ignorance, it's almost not true that you're doing it in ignorance. because everything is out there on the internet. Everything, every Tom, Dick, and Harry now knows this particular color belongs to this particular group. Now, the danger of dressing in a particular way when you're not a member, it's actually I don't know, you're actually deceiving yourself. You're actually deceiving yourself in the sense that one of the dangers is assuming, okay, let's cite the issue of Anambra. There's been consistent fracas in Anambra for above 5 years now, consistently with a particular group, the Black Axe and the Vikings. Maybe you came from how do I say? Maybe you came from Warri, and then you came to see your siblings or relatives in Anambra, and then you fly the Vikings color, and then you're entering Anambra, and the place you're going to in Anambra is actually an Axe territory, Black Axe territory. And then these two rival courts have been engaging in fracas regularly. They've both suffered casualty. And then you put on a red or whatever, and then you're strolling into an Axe territory. There's no way you will live that life. There's nothing you tell them. Do you understand? Because in that territory, you're actually claiming that you're something that you're not. And then they've seen a free food. They will just kill you for nothing. So that's one of the negative repercussion of actually flying a color that you're not actually representing, but for the sake of fashion or for the sake of whatever, you just decide to let me just wear this or wear that. That's one of the negative aspect of putting on a particular court color. I think that's what I have to say about that.
Okay, sorry, let me just take you back to a few minutes ago. You spoke about flying colors. What is the meaning of flying colors? Because is it just wearing a shirt or wearing a cap? Because, people have different colors of shirts. I understand you're saying going into a particular territory that has a particular group of people, it can be dangerous for you to wear some colors of shirt. But in general connotation, what is the meaning of flying colors? Is it just shirt or cap?
These guys, there's how to dress. There's how to dress for party. There's how to dress for burial. There's how to dress for wedding. Do you understand? It has to do with the particular color. Now, all of these code groups, they have their own color. They have their own beret type. They have their own socks, stockings. They have their own shirt type. They have their own trousers. Are you getting it? So if you dress in a particular way, and then you're from your head from what is on your head to what you're putting on as shoe and as socks, you're actually representing a particular group. That's what flying of color means. Do you understand? As you cannot just wake up one morning and say you're going somewhere and then you put on a red beret and then you put on a black t-shirt and a black trouser, or a white t-shirt and a black trouser with a red beret. Are you getting it? You're actually insinuating something. And that's what flying of color means. So when once you are accosted by either the people you're flying their color or by a rival gang, because they would want to know who is this person. And especially if it's someone they haven't seen before, that's the rival gang. And then they would want to know who is this person. Is this person a member, or is this person just fooling around? So that's what flying of color means. It means you're dressing in a particular way that represents a particular code group, a particular code belief that you're trying to. It also connotes that you're trying to bring superiority, in the sense that when you dress like that and then you show up in a particular territory that is not owned by that particular code group, you're just trying to put up something that is not supposed to happen. That's what flying of color means. You're just trying to represent a particular group, and then you dress just the way they would dress. And at times it's not just the beret or the shirt or the socks, although the beret and the socks are very key. And then you could wear anything on your body, but once you put on the socks of a particular color and a beret of a particular color, whether it's a blue, a red, a white, a black and a white, a black and a yellow, or the socks is a yellow, a red, a white, a green. These are things that actually distinguish between different codes. It may not be the dress you put on in the sense of it, in the sense of a trouser or a shirt, but once you put on a beret of a particular color, and then or a socks of a particular color, I think you're trying to say something just more than fashion. That's what flying of color means. Or you're trying to put on a particular color of bangle. That's just the main thing there in flying of colors.
Okay, thank you very much. That was very well explained. But in your opinion, what color of stockings would you advise someone who is not a confraternity member to wear to like a public gathering, like a party? Because you can't just put on a shoe without the socks. Okay, now when you're going to a party as someone who is not a member of anything, in your own advice, what color of stockings should such a person put on?
I think black is a universal color. No cult group claims black stockings. Black is a universal color. White has been attributed recently to the Klansmen confraternity, that's the KK Avesas. So it's more difficult now for you to say in a campus you're putting on a white socks. They're actually saying you're either a fan of the KK or you belong to the KK. So I think black is more universal. No cult group claims purple socks, pink socks. There are no cult groups like that. But the main colors for the blue, the red, the yellow, the white, I'm not sure you should even wear those ones, especially in campuses. Right? You should just put on your black stockings and go to where you're going to. I think black is most preferable. Or if you want to put on a pink socks, a orange socks, a brown socks, brown is still fine. But brown at times are associated with Buccaneer. So let me just say it Nigerian view. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think to be on the safer side, there's this kind of stockings they sell now where they are just mixed color. Do you understand? No particular distinguishing color. They are just mixed color here and there. You could also wear that. Or just a straight black socks, or any color, orange. I don't know if there's any dress that goes with orange socks, but those are just the main ones. But anything within the framework of blue, red, yellow, I think that's the no-go area. You're just putting yourself up for unnecessary challenge. And then I just remembered something. It's not just about stockings. Singlet also represent all of these things. All right. Singlets, black singlets. All right. It also represents all of these things. Yeah. So if you put on a black singlet, a yellow singlet, a green singlet, it could also, although it's a little bit less sensitive than the socks, but it also represents all of these things. The socks, just try to stay away from a particular color of socks, and then a beret or a cap. It's not just about beret, caps to also connote something.
Okay, thank you very much. So, what do you think about the people or someone who move with a particular confraternity member, or have people from a particular confraternity member as friends, and this person is not a confraternity member? What do you think about that?
This issue of people knowing that this person here is a cult member and then still makes friends with the person, that is utter stupidity of the highest order. They are just, I don't know how to say it. I wouldn't want to use a swear word on your platform, but they are just confused people. They are confused and silly, sincerely. With all modesty, let me use that word, they are confused and silly. Someone who has signed up for confra or whatever has signed his life away. And that person is a legitimate target. So you moving around with a legitimate target also implies that you're a legitimate target. I don't know if you're getting it. It implies that you yourself are a legitimate target. Because the day they will come, this thing, they don't verify if this person has joined. They don't actually verify. When hit squad comes, it is when the person who is pointing that they saw this person with this person here may not have confirmed that this person is a member. We've had so many cases across Nigeria this year where they shoot people and they kill people for nothing, and they end up finding out that this person here wasn't even a member. But maybe he dressed like a member, or he was seen around members, and he just died for nothing. So you yourself walking knowing that somebody is a legitimate confirmed member, and then you're hanging around that person, you're doing yourself more harm than good. Because that person who is in the confraternity is like a military person. The way you disappear when hit squad comes, you've not seen anything before, so they just use you and kill you like fish or something. So it's actually very dangerous. And like what I suggest, I tell everybody around me, if you know somebody is a confirmed member, stay away from that person. Must you make friends with that person? There are more than 7 billion people on earth. Must you make friends with a confirmed member? And even it's not even about friendship. If you know your brother is a confirmed member, tell your brother to go and look for another house sincerely. Because the day they will come for him, whoever they find in the house, that's the person they will use. We've had situations where they've killed parents, killed siblings, and the guy ran away, and the guy is still on the run. So it's even worse for family members than even for friends. But still, if you have a friend that is a confirmed member, please stay with. Politely tell the person you don't want to be friends with the person, because what the person has joined actually exposes everyone around him. You could be sitting down and they actually came to shoot the person, and then the bullet gets to make contact with you. You will die at the spot because you don't have the level of courage it takes for a bullet to penetrate you and then still survive, or you don't have the protection they've had. So that's the most dangerous thing for anybody to do with his life. Be around a confirmed member. There are more than 7 billion people on earth. Make friends with other people. Make friends. No matter how nice the confirmed member is a legitimate target. Bullet will not spare. It will still hit you and you will die for nothing. So I think that's what I have to say about that.
Okay, thank you very much. The last question, I think you have already said something about it, but I think maybe you can elaborate and make it clearer. Now, I am going to use the city of Awka as an example. We all know how Awka has been very hot for quite some time now, and also Abeokuta. So, a city that there is a continuous confraternity war for a very long time. Like you said, in Awka has been quite some years. In Abeokuta is up to 8 years now that this confraternity war has been on the ground. Someone who is not a confraternity member, what is an advice for you? What advice do you have for someone who is not a confraternity member to move in that kind of environment?
Is it during the cold clash or something?
Yes, we're talking about cities that are often involved in confraternity clashes. What would be an advice for someone who is not a confraternity member at all?
Sincerely, Nigerian view that response would be very difficult for anybody to answer. That response, because if I say do not go to a pub or a bar, hit squads come to bar, and there's a way they come and they spray bullets everywhere. So unfortunately, if someone who is not a member of, and it's not even about someone who is not a member of a confra, they could come and they're looking for a particular confra member, and then they see the person, and then they start spraying bullet. The bullet gets to meet another confra member, and then the thing escalates. So if I say do not go to, this thing, sincerely, it's very difficult to respond to this particular one. It is only God that can help anybody. Because even if you say you wouldn't know when the war starts, especially the first hit. You wouldn't know where it would hit. So you can just say you're standing and then you're trying to board the taxi or you're highlighting from a taxi or something, and then fire just comes from anywhere, boom, boom, boom. It could just hit you. This particular one is very difficult. But once you know that there is an existing war in a town, there are places you know that called people gather. You shouldn't even hang around there. And then you shouldn't even stay out at night. Anything from 6, you should be in the house. And then it's not when you hear that they shot somebody, you want to the venue. What are you going there to do? Are you paramedic or something? They can still come back and hit again. So I don't really know how to answer this in the street world. People should just be careful. People should just be careful. That's all I can say. Especially in places where there are existing war, recurrent war, and then where there are no wars, and then you like going to pub and bars and hotels where all of these confra guys hang out. You should also be careful, because fight can just. This thing is nobody knows where it. Nobody knows what happens. The thing just starts. Nobody really knows what happens. The thing just starts, and when once it starts, all of them they get the necessary information. The ones that are active will get the necessary information, and even the ones that are outside the state will get the necessary information, and they'll know what to do, and they'll start packing their load or start getting prepared, getting their tools ready, getting their juju or whatever ready, getting their hit squads ready, and you're just working as if. So I think that's it for that. People should just be careful. Avoid places where cold boys meet regularly. Avoid places where fight happens regularly, and just don't walk too late at night. Just don't hang out too late at night. That's the thing. Like the things we've actually said on this platform, avoid wearing a particular color. Avoid hanging out with a particular group. We've had people that say. The worst, let me even say, this is the last point I'll make. The worst is that there are people that don't actually fan a particular group. They actually fan multiple groups. That's how foolish it is. They actually fan multiple groups. They don't actually fan one. So those ones, anybody can just kill them for nothing. Let me just leave it there.